Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Entertainment Expansion. We are your hosts, Tyler Callahan and Mike Ferrante. Mike, how you doing this week?
Well, I'm happily chilling this week, Tyler.
Are you chilling?
Yeah, I'm
That's
pretty
good, because
chilling right now.
yeah, it's been a relaxing week so far. I think we've both been looking forward to the Oscars for quite some time now. And since that happened this previous Sunday, both saw the show, we saw some of the speeches, and well, just like last year, it's time to talk about what happened. So,
It's true. Let me just start off with one of the negatives, if you don't mind, Tyler.
sure, go ahead.
I really wish that there were just more musical performances because there really wasn't enough this year. There was just, maybe like 15 musical performances.
Yeah, you're right. Because like after Elton John performed, and then like they had to like rush out the rest of the awards. And I was like, you really couldn't have time for one more musical number, really?
Right? Right? Because, we're there to watch musical numbers. This is the Grammys, right?
Oh wait, hold on. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
The winners here, it says Oscar, not Grammys.
Oh, damn.
Uh,
Damn. You know what? Then that makes even more sense why they had so many musical numbers.
mm.
You know what? Let's get Adina Menzel to sing some Frozen songs again, too, for the fucking sixth year in a row. Really good in Uncut Gems, but I'll tell you what, she's even better at singing a Frozen song, so let's just milk that cow until it fucking passes out.
All right, so yeah, obviously, let's talk about how the actual show was produced. As you can tell, if you can't tell from our dry sarcasm, we weren't a fan of the many musical numbers. And I understand it's tradition the best original song gets performed during the show. I get it.
Yeah,
However,
that makes sense.
that makes sense. And keep it to 4 to 5 songs. Fine. We don't need fucking Eminem doing it. It's Lose Yourself. It's a fantastic song. Love it. We don't need it in the middle of the Oscars. Sorry.
It's just kind of random.
And while the opening number was good, I mean, maybe cut that out as well.
Yeah, I mean, there was just too many. Like, I get it, they were trying to fill time, but I feel like they wasted a lot of time, and we cut out a lot of people's like speeches because of it.
Yeah, no, it's like, oh, you're like you said, oh, they're trying to fill time. The Oscars is supposed to be 3 hours. Now, obviously, ABC will let it run long as needed, but it finished at 3.5 hours. The producers for the show did not keep stuff tight enough, and they were cutting off at the wrong point. Like, one of the trophies toward the end was the costume designers, right? So you had a guy and 2 girls go up stage. The guy talks for like a minute and a half. As soon as the girl goes up to speak, lights off, cut the commercial. It's like, really? Like, and then for Best Picture for Parasite, they almost did the exact same shit. But the crowd stood up and it's like, no, let him speak. I'm like, thank you. Like, someone has some common sense here. I thought last year was fine with no host. But obviously you can tell now last year worked great because they had nothing planned. So they just did the awards, did the songs, and they just let it happen. I thought it was great. This year, obviously, the producers felt they needed to fill up that time, which we got a small comedy monologue from Steve Martin and Chris Rock, which I thought was fine.
Yeah, that was fine.
But you have to think, like, you had a big musical number that was on for like 5 minutes. You kick off the show. Then you have the comedy monologue for another 4 or 5 minutes. So between commercials, you're 15, 20 minutes into the Oscars. You haven't given out an award. So I think the pacing of the show was really bad. Like you said, too many musical acts. And yeah, they really, if they're going to, I think they should keep going with no host. I think that's a great idea. But they should let the speeches breathe for themselves. These people have worked hard. They're getting their moment. We want to be inspired by them and be happy for them. That doesn't work if we got to cut the commercial every 5 minutes.
That's correct.
Mike, was there anything else you wanted to add in about about how the show was run? I thought the stage was nice.
Yeah, no, everything else was really good. It's just that, like you said, they were rushing in all the wrong spots.
Yeah.
Like, if they cut out even one musical number, that would have saved a lot of time and actually given the people who won the awards their time to shine and speak and, appreciate the fact that they won and their hard work has paid off. But apparently that's not as important as a musical number.
Apparently not. All right, so now that how the actual show went is over, let's talk about the winners. I think one that was actually surprising to me was Best Animated Feature, with Toy Story 4 winning. I was a little surprised because for the Golden Globes, The Missing Link won, the stop-motion movie. And I took that as, okay, obviously with Frozen 2 not even being nominated, the animation field is kind of weak this year. I thought The Missing Link would actually get the Oscar, and that small studio would actually get some proper recognition. It didn't happen. It went to a Disney film again. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that.
I mean, I haven't seen the what was it, The Missing Link?
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. It stars Hugh Jackman. He's in it.
I mean, Toy Story 4 was really good.
It was.
It kind of kept up the whole feeling of Toy Story. You know what I mean? Like you haven't once walked into a theater, watched Toy Story, and you feel like it's completely changed and like they completely messed with the formula and screwed it up. Like they've kept it consistently good.
Yeah, I was just
Which,
kind of hoping because like the Disney movie. I mean, Toy Story 4 is good, but like if there was one year where Disney doesn't win because of all the animated movies they pump out, that this would have been the year. You know.
well, didn't last year they not win?
Um.
Yeah, didn't Into the Spider-Verse win?
Oh yeah, they did. Oh yeah. I kept thinking Incredibles 2 won. I was like, no, I don't think so. Okay.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Well, I guess they had to give it back to Disney. You know, make sure they don't get too upset.
Yeah.
Was there any before we get to the big ones because there was quite a bit of news? Was there any of the smaller awards given out that surprised you, deserved, undeserved?
Not really.
Okay.
Honestly, the Oscars seem pretty fair this year.
They were. They were. There was not one movie that was. I mean, there was one that kind of dominated, but for the most part, a lot of the Best Picture nominees got something.
Yes. And
Like,
like
got some gold.
it's not like they didn't make sense either. Like you're just like out of left field, like what? How did that win?
Mm-hmm.
Like it all kind of seemed very spot on.
I know one movie for me that stood out was Ford versus Ferrari, and I was curious about it from the trailers. Like, I don't hate the idea of the movie, but hearing all the great reviews, it got Best Picture nominee, and then for editing, anyway, it did win. Like, it does technically, it has 2 Oscars now, so I'm definitely gonna more inclined to give it a watch and see. But I mean, you tell me at the beginning of last year, Ford versus Ferrari, like that's going to be nominated for Oscars. I mean, I wouldn't think about it. It's a racing movie. But
Yeah. At the same time, when you get some names like Christian Bale,
Matt Damon.
yeah, I was gonna leave that one out there. But when you
James
Christian
Mangold.
Bale, it's gonna as Christian Bale or as Joaquin Phoenix said during his Golden Globe speech, is can you please just bring in like a bad performance once, just phone it in just once, because Christian Bale is known to give great performances. He doesn't necessarily,
absolutely,
but his performances will always be spot on.
Well, I think a big thing for this also is the director, James Mangold. He did do Logan, and that was one of the few superhero movies up until obviously the past year or two where it got some recognition with a screenplay nomination. So the fact that he came back with another movie, got even more nominees, actually won some trophies. Good on them. I know. Yep.
I was going to say, speaking of screenplay, I think this would be a good time to segue into the kind of shocking surprise.
Oh, I was surprised by both screenplay winners, but yeah, go with who you're going to talk about.
Taika Waititi actually won the Oscar for Jojo Rabbit. Was that best adapted screenplay?
I believe it was. Yes.
Which is outstanding for him. I'm extremely proud of the guy because he became a no-name director and shot to stardom real fast. Because he usually did like kind of quirky things like What We Do in the Shadows, and then he got his big break doing Ragnarok, which was a huge success. Then he does this movie, gets an Oscar for it. So really, he's only got 3 major films that are pretty much out there, and the third one he gets an Oscar for.
Yeah, no, it is crazy. Like, he's one of those guys that like he's been around, he's done some stuff, but then quickly rose, like you said, because Ragnarok came out 2017, and back then he was just known for, What We Do in the Shadows. So in less than about 3 years, he makes one blockbuster movie, makes another movie, wins an Oscar for that movie, and is now making Thor 4. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, because if you look at his filmography, he's mostly directed like some TV shows, some shorts, but no real big films.
Yeah.
So like him breaking into the film universe and being extremely successful at it, because everyone seems to like the way he directs. Yes, his style, and apparently the way he writes as well.
Well, also we can't drop out the fact that he helped out with Mandalorian, directed an episode or two, plays a voice character. And obviously there's been rumors now for the past few weeks where Disney is trying to court him for a Star Wars movie, which I understand why.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in seeing it.
So for Waititi, he went up against The Irishman, Joker, Little Women, and The Two Popes to win that award. I thought it would have been The Irishman because with Scorsese, it's a movie that's been talked about for years. If you're going to give him something, that's what you give him. But no, Irishman got shut out.
Yes, it did. I mean, let's be serious. The script for The Irishman wasn't anything special.
True.
It was a pretty, honestly, boring script. The dialogue seemed very elementary, not to the elementary style of like Venom, but compared to a Scorsese movie, it just didn't really have it. Because dialogue in Scorsese movies are huge. This one, not really.
I'm also curious how they judge the screenplays. Because I wonder, like, okay, with the actions as he describes it are fine, that how they talk is fine, but it's a 3.5-hour movie. How many pages do you think that actually is? They might feel the screenplay's too bloated, so it doesn't get a vote. I was surprised with the original screenplay, with Parasite winning. I really thought Once Upon a Time in Hollywood would probably get that, or if not that, then Marriage Story. But
yeah,
I
mean, Parasite was a pretty big movie this year, and it was, from all accounts, groundbreaking.
It was. I think it was the story, and obviously how they turned that movie inside out. Obviously, I'm happy it did win. I just thought, Jesus, even though I thought Knives Out might have had a chance, though. That would have been funny seeing Ryan Johnson get an Oscar.
Yeah.
I can see all the Star Wars haters just loving that moment. But yeah, I think like we said earlier, the awards were pretty even. 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Joker each won 2 apiece. Obviously, Parasite got the most with 4. I thought cinematography for 1917 was well deserved. That's one that stood out to me, but also was kind of obvious. So I guess before we talk about Parasite, let's talk about the acting noms. So if you don't know how the award season works, there's a bunch of smaller awards that work up to the Oscars, and there's no shock here. Consistently, it's been Joaquin Phoenix, Brad Pitt, Laura Dern, and Renee Zellweger, all 4 winning the majority of trophies. They all got their Oscars tonight or a few days ago. So I guess, Mike, what do you think of the speeches, since there's no surprise winner?
Speeches were pretty good. I mean, Joaquin blew it out of the park. He gave very moving and emotional speech.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the shout out to the brother. That was very nice.
Yeah. Laura Dern's speech was also very good and emotionally moving as well.
I thought Brad Pitt's was good.
Yeah, I mean, it's Brad Pitt.
I think he's had better ones. I think he had more funny, raunchy ones, like from the Golden Globe stuff, making fun of Quentin Tarantino. Like he obviously,
but this is the Oscars. You can't really.
Like he makes a political joke right at the beginning. He takes his shot, but then he kind of kept it clean, which I get it.
Yeah, and it's all these actors and actresses. They did deserve their Oscars. I will say that, because Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he kind of made the movie.
Oh, he was a star in the movie. He was.
Yeah, even though he was a supporting role, he kind of stole it, especially with his acting at the end. Outstanding. And obviously, Joaquin, we don't even need to go that further. If you want to hear us talk about that, you can just listen to any one of our other podcasts involving awards and the Joker.
All we say is that movie lives and dies on that performance, and he killed it.
Correct.
I mean, the only speech I thought was pretty bad, which it didn't help because we were running out of time, is Renee Zellweger's speech, right? Like, it started off fine, thanking people and all that, and then it just went into, I don't know if it was a gender message or political message. Like, it wasn't a good speech, because yes, Joaquin's speech kind of went all over the place, like vegan message wise. At least he has an excuse for, you've seen it before. He does, he's really nervous making speeches in front of huge crowds. It has been seen, and he's going to make a political message, which he did. But for Renee Zellweger, I just didn't know what she was going on about. And then obviously at that point, the producers weren't trying to get her off the stage, so I feel she kind of wasted some time, really.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to blame her on that. That's more on the music performances and how many there were.
But I have to
Yeah.
say the most humbling speeches that were given were from, I'm gonna botch his name, so I'm not even gonna try, the director of Parasite.
Yes, Bong Joon-ho, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
His speeches were always extremely pleasant. He gave credit and a lot of props to everyone he went up against, as well as thanking Martin Scorsese um, for being such an influence to him throughout his entire directing career, as well as thanking Todd Phillips and who's the guy that directed 1917?
Sam Mendes.
Sam Mendes, as they both put out amazing works as well. So he was very humble, despite winning 4 Oscars that night.
Yeah. No, I
So
thought those speeches were good. He definitely pulled a Joaquin with majority of speech thanking the other nominees and praising
yeah,
them. And
which is nice to see because who knows, it might inflate his ego going further, but at least tonight he was very humbled and gracious.
yeah, I don't think it's going to be inflated. I mean, he's been making films for 15, 20 years. This was his big moment. So, I mean, I saw stories where digital sales of Parasite after winning Best Picture on iTunes and Vudu shot up 400%.
Damn.
That shot up 400%. Tickets on Fandango are up 200% for seeing in theaters. And now people are hearing about him for the first time. They're buying Snowpiercer with Chris Evans. They're buying his Blu-rays of older movies. So he's getting a big bump now, and people are going to recognize his work more. But one thing that stood out in, I think, the director's speech was we got a Texas Chainsaw Massacre reference in an Oscar speech.
We did.
This
Don't
guy,
know.
this guy's a film buff through and through.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know why we got that.
Because he wanted to chop it up.
Yeah, no, I get that, but you could have just said a regular chainsaw. You didn't have to go into yeah.
I
Let
don't
me
know. Maybe the
reference.
interpreter added that in, but you know.
No,
Good.
because I'm pretty sure I heard him say Texas,
Okay. Okay.
something close to Texas.
I gotta say
Because
that interpreter's been on the ball the entire time, watching this guy's speeches at the award shows.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how to say Texas in Korean, but I'm gonna assume it kind of sounds like Texas.
It
It's
probably
just
does.
one of those words that no matter what country you're in, it just kind of sounds the same.
All right. So, speaking of Parasite, Parasite broke new ground, made history last night, a few nights ago, and I will say the pacing of the awards helped make the moment special. So, in case anyone didn't watch it live, the screenplay win was up first. So it's like, okay, surprise win, welcomed, all that. He's up the first time. Then international film, that was a guaranteed given. So, okay, fine, he's up there again, takes the second Oscar. And then he says it when he wins Best Director. That's where the first shock is. He didn't expect him to be back up again because everyone thought after international film, they're done. So the fact that he won Best Director surprised everyone, made that great speech that we were just talking about. So at this point, it's like, oh, okay, well, he's got all those. 1917 will probably get the other one, or Hollywood, to balance it out. And Jane Fonda opens up the envelope and looks at them for a second. She looks over at the Parasite crowd, and they win. So it is the first foreign language film to win Best Picture. Also, the first combo to win International Film and Best Picture. And yeah, it was a happy surprise for me. Because personally, especially after I saw 1917 a few days ago, it was good. But I thought personally Joker was better. If Uncut Gems was nominated, that would have been better. And obviously Parasite was better. So, no offense to Sam Mendes, but I'm happy 1917 didn't win. Mike, I know you haven't seen the movie yet. I know I keep hounding you to. What did you think about the shocking win?
Well, to me, it's not that shocking because even without seeing the movie, just knowing the reviews of it, it kind of seemed like it was going to go in that direction.
And how I won't
Just,
shut up about it?
well, not just you, but it's all over the country.
Yeah.
I've never seen people so active about a film that they had to read subtitles for. Usually that's unheard of. People are like, all right, well, it's going to be English subtitles, so I'm not even going to bother watching that. Because a lot of people don't like to read when they're watching a movie.
That's true.
So after getting through all the hype about the film, despite its setbacks of, the majority of people don't want to read, it kind of seemed like it was going to win.
Yeah, I guess in hindsight, the hype was there, but I think people were more worried because, again, based on the actors winning the awards, 1917 won a lot of the key awards that would predate the Best Picture. So while Parasite at the end caught up in hype and was a clear frontrunner, for the most of the time it was 1917's to lose, and well, they did lose it. But you mentioned about the subtitles. I never mind subtitles because of some of the shows I watch. They're not in English, so I'm just used to it. But the director did say at his Golden Globe speech that if you get over past the 1 inch barrier of subtitles, you'd be introduced to a world of great filmmaking. And I think Parasite might be the film to break that barrier.
I
Because
think so.
if you have people, I went to see Parasite fucking New Year's Day in the afternoon. Theater was packed and people were sitting on the steps. Like it didn't win any major awards yet, and it's a fucking packed theater for a Korean movie. And now, I just told about the sales numbers shooting through buildings, 400%. Like, it's crazy. So my personal hope is that more international films get the recognition they deserve. And I see people complaining, oh, well, one international film, it shouldn't win. It shouldn't be nominated for Best Picture. I think that's bullshit. If it's the Best Picture of the year, the Oscars are the Super Bowl. If this is the best picture around the world, it should win. That's it. I don't know. Do you feel if a movie wins Best International Film, it shouldn't win Best Picture?
No, I don't.
Like, I feel a great compromise would be Best Domestic Film, and that's it, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
If you want to even it out,
it's Best Picture of the year, so it doesn't matter where the film comes from. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. I don't think it should matter, but I've seen some complaints where, oh, well, it was in Best International Film, it shouldn't be nominated for Best Picture. But if it's the Best Picture of the year, you're right. It shouldn't matter where it comes from. It's clearly the Best Picture of the year. It won the award, and yeah, that's my take on it. I've only seen a few people talk about that, but I am happy more people are starting to get around watching Parasite because it's a fantastic movie. And yeah, I hope this isn't the last time in say like 20 years, right? Because I will say the Oscars do flip back and forth on the movies they pick. So like we had Moonlight a few years ago. Good pick. But then from there we went to Green Book. But now we're back with Parasite. So I don't know. So do you have any more thoughts on the Oscars?
No, I think I'm all tapped out.
All right. So yeah, we're obviously in agreement. The awards were fairly given out. There wasn't a big snub or, yeah. I feel there was everyone who won was deserving.
Yes.
All right. Well, I look forward to talking about the Oscars this time next year with new crop of movies. Hopefully, as strong as last year was. 2019 has been the strongest year of movies since, at least for me, 2016. So I hope 2020 can keep up.
But who knows? It might.
Or it might not. Yeah, we'll see.
Only time will tell.
All right. So, Mike, if anyone has any thoughts on the 2019 Oscars, where should they let us know?
Well, as always, we want to know what you guys thought. Did we miss anything? Was there a snub in your opinion? Let us know. Either email us at entertainmentexpansion@outlook.com or come on down to the Inner Circle, follow our Instagram page, leave us a comment, send us a direct message. Go ahead, slide right in there. It's quite all right. And finally, check out our YouTube channel where we go over a decent amount of these movies that we were just talking about today. As always, we look forward from hearing from you.
Yeah, YouTube channel obviously is a great spot. We have the where we talked about the nominees. So if you want to see what we thought about all the movies during that point, go right ahead and click on that one. And then for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Joker and Irishman, actually, 3 of them, we have full breakdown discussion videos on those. So take a look at those. But that'll be it for this week's special episode of Entertainment Expansion. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.